Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. Today we're going to take a look at a game called The Key, Murder at Oakdale Club by Haba. This is a game, there's one of, I think, 3 installments of this, each with a different theme, that deals with a murder most foul. In it, you're trying to take clues and discover several different murders that all occur in the general time frame using some weapons, and it's your job to figure out who did it, how they did it, where they did it, and how they got away. So without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, let's go over what comes in every delicious box of The Key, Murder at the Oakdale Club. The core of the game are these cards. These are all cards with different pieces of information on the back, no spoilers, that are all keyed off the color that you're going to be investigating. How does that work? Well, there's 9 keys, and you're going to pick a color. Each of these colors of the key is going to match some of these cards, not all of them. For example, this orange key has nothing to do with any clues that you'll find on the back of this card, but will have something to do with any card that has at least one that has one orange square. So all of these cards are, and there's no difference in the deck, it's just one big old stack of cards. Then you have a manual, which, depending on which language you're in, like the first part can be English, or the one side is English and the other side is not English. Uh, Interesting. Okay, so that's what you got. Every player gets one of these guides, and these guides have a little bit of extra information that you'll use as a cross-reference for some of the cards that you're going to discover. And here, the heart of your game is going to be here. Every player gets this hidden away, tucked away mat that goes over the 3 suspects and information to help you determine of these 3 suspects. You get to determine who did it, how they did it, where they did it, and what their getaway plan was. And you have this pen because this is all writable. And that's it. That's all that comes. Whoa, before I lie, there's also this. This is not used till the end of the game, but everyone's going to have, at the end of your turn, when you're done, or when you're done, like, in almost fairly certain, or certainly certain, that you have found all of the combinations of ways for all these these criminals to have done the dirty deeds, you will come up with a 4-digit code. It is then your turn, and not everyone will do this that feels that they've come to the winning information, but based on who finishes first, second, third, fourth, they will all try and use their key on a different piece of information, and they'll put it in where they think it goes. Then they're going to flip it to the back, and I'm not going to show you that for potential spoilers. And if the color orange is connected to the key orange on the back, doink, then you win. You found all the information, you did it right. It's really kind of simple, but not so simple. Let's examine the gameplay. Okay, people who don't like messiness are going to hate this part of the game. You spin around the cards, you randomize them, it doesn't really matter. You're taking this nice bouquet, this Christmas wreath of clues, per se, and whatever color you choose is in the middle. There's 9 specific core cases to solve, each one reflective of a different color. So then you go, you've laid it out, you've got your cards out, it don't matter, and then play begins, and there's no turn order here. There's nothing going on. As a player, all you're doing is you are attempting to find out clues that will help you eliminate or fill in this form to get the right information. What's interesting about it is that you're going to find times when you're going to cross off certain clues are going to help you cross off certain pieces of information, and eventually you'll get to the point where if you, for example, you've got these 2 guys eliminated, or 2 people eliminated, well, you know that this is who did the murder, the first murder, etc. Also, for this particular one, you can see kind of the golf course where the murders took place, and this will become useful for reference in certain ways. You've got time to consider. You'll notice this crime occurred at 7:30, at 8, and at 8:15. That comes into play also as part of the cards. So to start with, we're going to go here, and honestly, you just grab a card. Like, what makes sense? Well, why would you pick one card over another? Well, first off, you don't want this card because it doesn't even match, so you know that's going to be a false clue. 2, you're going to look and go, well, what kind of clue does the back of this card give me? Well, It tells me something about the victim or the perpetrator, and it could tell me something about the murder weapon, but it's going to cost me 4 investigative points. Now, whoever solves this first doesn't necessarily mean they win, because whoever took the least amount of clues in order to come up with the right answer is going to be the winner. So there is a slight advantage of being first to win, but not necessarily enough that winning first is always a guaranteed win, or finishing first is always a guaranteed win. We're going to go ahead and take this clue, and it is for, again, I'm only going to do this, so we're going to flip this over, and what does it say? Ooh, this gives us a clue and says that whoever has DNA matching this kind of routine is going to be the one that used this particular poison. 4 and 2 are your numbers, so 4 is a pretty powerful clue. It's going to give you specific information, usually more so than the 2-point clues are going to give you. So this is pretty powerful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to look here, and I'm not going to do too much more on this because I don't want to get into spoiler land, but you're going to try and find somebody that matches that particular pattern. And when you find whoever matches it along the sphere, you're going to go like, oh, okay, that person did it. Let's pretend that that person did it. So then we're going to go here and we're going to go, oh, okay, so we know that when we know that whenever whoever this person, whichever murder this person winds up being, let's say that we discovered that through other clues that that this is our guy, and we know that this matches, and we look at the and go, oh, there's a match there. There's not, but I'm lying. Then we go, oh, well, I know that that's the murder weapon, so these aren't, which means that this is not the murder weapon for here or the murder weapon for here. So we've done a lot of information to deduce what's going on here. And you're going to fill that pattern out. I'm not going to go any farther because otherwise I'm giving away 1/9 of the game if I go on with this. And you're going to fill this out and you're going to finish. And when you finish, you're going to say, okay, say I figured out that it's this, and, you know, this person, that person. You fill it all out in the different ways, and, you know, and you're like, I'm sure that it's the right blah, blah, blah. So what you do is you find here the information you need, like for the first murder victim, we think it's this guy, so we go here, you match it up, and you go 4 3 1 4, however you decide the clues, and that is your key, 4 3 1 6. So for example, you'd go over here and you go like, oh, let's find 4 3 1 6. I'm pretty sure I've got it. Well, first off, you grab the key if you're the first person. Well, here there's no 4 3 1 6, and so you know already that you blew it. But if there was, say, 4136, you'd go, okay, I'm going to try, and I'm going to turn it over, and if it's orange, I guessed correctly. And then you count up all the points that you spent to come to that conclusion. You want the least amount of points possible. This key gives you 1 chance to get rid of a 2 card, so it basically gives you 2 points back. Whoever has the lowest investigation points is going to be the person that actually won, because they did the best job. You have 9 different cases, so discovering 9 different murders is going to be well, you'll get 9 sessions out of it. Afterwards, you'll already know if you're really smart or you're really good at memorizing. Like if you go back to play this orange clue again, you're going to know what number it actually resolved to here if you guessed it right. And so then it becomes a matter of just trying to use the clues to fill this out correctly to get to the point where you can get 2 4 3 1. So it changes from discovery to rapidity in that regard. So anyway, let's get into my thoughts on the key. Murder at the Oakdale Club. Okay, final thoughts on the key, murder at Oakdale Club. Let's go over the cons first and then the pros. The only real con I have, which is not really a con, or at least it's not something I would look at it as a detriment to the game implicitly, is that I do question my desire for the replayability aspects. Let me explain that the way I did in the video a bit. You have 9 mysteries to solve, and once you are done solving a particular mystery, based on which color of key you chose, once you know the actual answer to it after the first time, after that you're switching mental streams. You're no longer in the discovery, that exciting discovery phase. You're now in the optimization phase where you're like, okay, I know I know the end results of this case. Now my job is to go find all the clues necessary to be able to make my case. And in that way, someone described it as the first time you're a detective trying to find out the mystery of all these people, how they killed somebody, why they killed, where they killed somebody, and how they got away and such. And then after that, once you've gone through it the first time with fresh eyes, you're now in a point where you're a prosecutor looking for the all the evidence you need to make a Loctite case. If you try to look at it that way, yes, there's lots of replayability. But to be honest, in contrast to say some other games, I don't, it's not replayable to me in that regard. I don't find that Switch to be what I would want to pay for. I enjoyed the 9 cases. I think it was money well spent, but I don't think I'm going to go back and try to min-max a given case to try and find the right cues. It is nice that they allow you to do that, to have this sort of like, hey, it's all about how quickly you're able to get the resolution to these murders in the shortest amount of clues needed. That part I get, and I might go back and play it again and stuff, but to me the joy of the game was the discovery part, where you're like, okay, I'm piecing together all this, not okay, this, yeah, I remember that, I remember, well, we know these, who did it, we know how they did it, we know how they got away and stuff. I just need to find the right pieces and hope I go through the big pile of cards and find the right ones faster than other people. That wasn't interesting to me. I wouldn't play it in that regard. So keep that in mind. The replayability is a complete context switch once you're done solving the 9 cases with native eyes or naive eyes. So that's the only kind of downer for me. I wouldn't. Again, it's not implicitly a knock on the game, just something to be aware of when they talk about how replayable this game is. Let's talk about the pros, though. I do like this game. It is approachable, and I like the fact that it does something other detective mystery games don't do, which is not make people wait their turn, and at the same time not make it a fast action, who's fastest on the draw. You are able, I mean, because you're able to just basically, puke out cards in the middle of a table. I mean, setup is blindingly easy. You just puke out the cards on the table, put a little key in the middle, give everyone their sheet and a pen, and say, okay, go sleuth. That's good. I like it because it makes it a lot easier to just get stuff out there. The card difficulty, people trying to figure out the clues on the cards, you might have to help some new people. Matter of fact, you might even just take one color and say, this is always the color we're going to just teach people. And then after that, people will get it. It'll be like, okay, I got that, I got that. Again, it's not a rushed thing. You're kind of, you have a sense of urgency, but you don't have a sense of just despairingly mind frazzling need for time. You do have a small gain if you finish early. If you're the first one finished and you're correct, there is a benefit, but it's not an overwhelming benefit. And I like that. I like that I can have people grabbing cards, looking at it, go, yeah, yeah, and stuff. I like that. I think that they did a really good job on it. As far as an entry-level murder mystery game that doesn't require a lot of preparatory discussion and whatever, I think this does great, and I think the 9 cases are more than a solid amount. And again, if you do like the fact that you want to play it again and try to get a better score, you can do that. There's nothing that stops you from doing that. There are so many sort of like detective games out there right now that I have gone through, from the old Sherlock Holmes, we've got City of Angels, we've got Lawyer Up, we've got all kinds of opportunities here. And I think this one fits well as sort of a nice, oddly pleasant for a murder mystery kind of game. I would recommend it to people who like a murder mystery. I still would say that if you really want something that does justice to replayability, do Awkward Guests. Awkward Guests is more of a kind of a low budget looking game, but it has a lot going for it in a similar vein, but with less constraints than just 9 cases. I think that has... Yeah, I would recommend Awkward Guests. If you try this and you like it, you might consider Awkward Guests as well, because it gives you a lot in the package too. So anyway, that's it. I recommend it again for people who are like, no, what's an easy to get into murder mystery that has some legs to it. So anyway, take care, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.